Health span is how long you're healthy within your lifespan. And we have the shortest of all in the U.S. We suck. We're the worst. We're the sickest nation. What I want is your playspan, the things you love to do, should last your lifespan. You can't live without zinc. You can't live without vitamin C, but too much and it becomes toxic. Everything in moderation. The older you get, the more resistant your body becomes to exercise. They're looking for that magic bullet. Peptides, hormone therapy. You're putting something on a motor that's already broken. I'm not sure you're going to be as energetic as I am at 73, but the trillions of cells I have, they're cranked all the time. I have more energy than a 20-year-old.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Sup Beast. As always, your host Zane Spruce, fitness and nutrition expert Neal Spruce, and today we're going to be going over fitness over 40, and really for everyone though. This is a topic he lectures on globally. He also works with many of the world's biggest celebrities and CEOs, and now he's going to give us the keys to how to unlock staying young and maximizing youthfulness and maximizing your health span. Let's get into it. Neal, you talk a lot about lifespan versus health span, but you have something you like to call playspan.
Yeah.
So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, quickly. I coined that phrase probably back, God, it must have been in the early 90s. And that was because, when I owned National Academy of Sports Medicine, we had all the top athletes in the world coming in there. We would have them in the off season, get them ready for the in season, do all their training and give them their nutrition and so forth. And, the GMs for the teams, they always go, how long do you think this guy can play, because we have to assess them, right? And I said, well, their play span, I just kind of threw that out one day, is this long. I wasn't the guy assessing him. It was my physical therapist and my sports nutrition guys. Sports exercise guys. So I did the nutrition side of it, though. Anyway, so I would say this. Then one day, it just occurred to me, this was probably 97, 98. I go, wow, why is everyone wants to play span to last forever? So let's get away from that professional athlete side and all those kind of things, and let's move that into the real world. So I coined the phrase playspan. I actually have a trademark on it, by the way. So lifespan is, everybody knows what that means. It's how long you live, right? Health span is how long you're healthy within your lifespan. And we have the shortest of all pure nations in the U.S. We suck. We're the worst. We're the sickest nation, and no one argues that one. That's easy. But playspan means when do you stop doing the things that you used to do that you loved? So let's say you were in high school and you did basketball, or you played baseball, or you did this, or you ran, or you were just active, whatever. You're not doing that anymore because you're out of shape, or you're miserable, or you're in a working world. So the average play span, really for some in the U.S., if you do kind of the math on all of it, look at everything else, when they stop moving and they get fat and they get, cardiovascular system's now 50% of what it used to be, is around 35. So I actually have all those numbers. 65, by the way, is health span. I think that's even gone down. And average lifespan is 77 years in the U.S., which is the most embarrassing statistic on the planet, by the way. So play span, what I want is your play span, the things you love to do, should last your lifespan. So we build all our protocols around that. And it all starts with nutrition, obviously.
And so why do you think Americans have the shortest health span?
Well, it's not why I think. I think we pretty much all know. We have the highest healthcare dollar for dollar. There's 50 peer nations. That means they're economically equal to us. They're, so socialized and everything else is kind of equal development-wise. So they're called 50 peer nations. And we're number 50 on the list for the lowest lifespan, lowest health span. Pretty embarrassing all the way around. And yet ours, we pay 5 times more. Dollar for dollar, all equal between all 50 peer nations, dollar for dollar, we pay 5 times more than anybody in healthcare. Well, here's the thing. There's a combination of things. The socioeconomic reason for that is that the disparity between the rich and the poor just gets bigger and bigger. Poor people do not have access to great health care. They don't have access to foods, healthy foods, because they can't afford healthy foods. They are more expensive than cheap foods. You can feed a family of 6 at McDonald's for one half it would take to cook at home. Good food, healthy food, for a family of 6. So you end up with that. Then they can't move. They live in troubled neighborhoods. They can't move around. So those people don't have access to hair care, health care, and on top of that, they're getting fat, and it's just too late to do anything. So that's a big part of the number that we're looking at. People dying of diabetes and being overweight, all that's contributing to it. The other part is the behavioral lifestyles that we have, the environment we live in, the environmental insults from the pollution, everything else we have here, the foods that people eat, the processed foods, all these things add up to our shorter lifespan. And then we get fat. We're among the fattest nations in the world. We get fat and we can't move, and then we're screwed. But it all starts with nutrition. Every single bit of this starts with, because life doesn't start without nutrition. So obviously, bad nutrition, bad life.
Going back to a few episodes, you use the term silent hunger a lot. What can you explain that for us?
Yeah,
briefly?
for sure. Silent hunger, this is something that everybody's watching needs to write it down. Write it down right now, silent hunger. What it is, that's your micronutrients. You got about 30 essential micronutrients that body can't make, that they are needed exogenously. You got to supply them diet or supplements to get them into your body to create the body in the first place. Those are called essential vitamins and minerals. Now, they don't have any calories in it. Your calories are in your protein, fats, and carbs. That's where your macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, they supply your calories. But inside those macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, are your vitamins and minerals that don't have calories. So when you're hungry, you don't feel the silent hunger. You don't feel the micronutrients that you're short on. Yeah. It is not manifested through hunger. I wish it was. God, I wish vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, all the things we don't get enough of from foods, selenium and zinc, and all we don't get enough from foods. I would love it if they had calories in it, because you'd be hungry for them. So they don't. The protein, fats, and carbs have the calories. So, and that's that. Then they carry along whatever the nutrients are. So you know when you're low on calories, you're hungry and you eat and you overeat because there's just too many calories in everything you eat, and our bodies are tricked into always eating whatever's in front of you. But you don't know when you're low on micronutrients, and those are what power all your trillions of cells are powered by the micronutrients. You can't even unlock the calories in your macronutrients without micronutrients. They're responsible for every part of our metabolism. 100% of our metabolism, vitamin minerals are responsible for. So the problem is you don't know when you're short until you break. Yeah. If you don't get enough calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K, then your bones just become half of what they could be because you're getting half of what you should be getting. Okay, and then now you break down early in life. Osteoporosis, osteopenia. You're not getting enough calcium, vitamin D. You're not getting enough B for your brains, your nerves, phosphatidylserine, acetyl-L-carnitine to feed your brain cells, neurons. You're not getting enough because no one just accidentally gets enough from food. So if anything breaks down early, that's all. It's that simple. But you're not. The silent hunger is you don't feel it in your stomach. It ends up manifesting as a breakdown, early aging, early breakdown, and often breakdown.
So how would you respond to people that say, well, I eat super healthy and I eat all my fruits and vegetables. I don't miss anything. That is part of what it would be, I don't know, the food pyramid, let's say.
Yeah, okay. Well, what does that mean? I mean, how do you know you got everything? Did you actually take your food and did you actually break it up and find out how many vitamins, of all the vitamin minerals that are supposed to be in an orange, were they really there? Depends where it was grown. If it was grown in Florida or California, completely different vitamin mineral count in the orange. Because what's in the soil is what's in the plant, nothing else. That's where it all starts. And every soil is different. So that's one teeny part, is the insurance of filling your gaps with a multivitamin mineral, no matter where you live, is there's something wrong with you if you don't do that. Your logic tree in your brain is not working. And it all started with, like big pharma. And then listen, I remember back in the 70s and the 80s and all this, people talking, if you eat right, you don't need to take a multivitamin. It's okay. You got to get it all from your food. No one gets it from their food. That's the thing. We've looked at every diet study in the world. There's 20 that came out recently, and it's getting worse, not better. You're missing vitamin. No one is getting it all from their foods. Now, you can, if you want, let's go to the blue zones. Let's go to up in Spain and the Mediterranean area, and let's go to Okinawa, where people, centenarians, they live to be 100 and so forth. I'm sure they don't take a supplement. You know why they don't need to? There's zero pollution there. Zero. They move all day. They get up and move. They grow their own food. Their fruits, vegetables, they fish from their own frickin' lakes, clean. There's no plastics in it. They have all that. If you want to move there and live there, don't worry about filling your gaps. There's no insults. There's not hardly any pollution. There's nothing. They're moving all the time. They're nice little social, but that ain't your lifestyle if you're living here. I'm not moving there to live another of the year and not have to take a supplement. I mean, what I'm saying, you could argue that, okay? But I could also argue if they did add a multivitamin in case there was something missing in their diet, they'd even be a little longer, maybe a little better longer. But that's neither here nor there. So the point is that no, it is impossible for anybody here living in your normal sort of Western society with all the environmental insults that we have and the things we eat, the soil, global warming, and that changes our plant structures and everything else. There's no way you're not going to get, there's no way you're going to get all the vitamins and minerals your body can actually use. Right? Well, let's just call it the RDA. No one's even getting the RDA. And the RDA isn't optimal. It's just minimal to prevent insufficiencies and deficiencies. Forget that. You're not even getting that. And we've looked at the cleanest diets in the world. And what is that anyway? And it's only getting worse. We used to have 20 known underconsumed. We still have 20 known underconsumed nutrients in the U.S. That's well known everywhere, documented. Potentially underconsumed. Some people might not, vitamin E might not be, but vitamin C might be, and vice versa. With all that. So, but there used to be 8 nutrients of concern. This was 2020. At 2025, we have 10 nutrients of concern, which means dangerously low, which means something bad is going to happen in your life. That's silent hunger. It's A, D, E, K, potassium, zincs. These are the things that are dangerously low in the average American. So, without supplementing those, if those are in charge of our entire metabolism, what is your metabolism running at? 60%? 70%? Basically, that's how you're going to perform the rest of your life. So that's it. It's just a broken logic. There's a branch missing on your logic tree if you don't get that, because we know that everything in the world's out there that explains it to a T. We're not getting it. Here's what you're supposed to get. Really nice to have RDAs, but no one reaches it from food. But you can get everything you need from food if you eat right. That is a false promise.
Well, I guess when would the symptoms start showing up, and is it too late to correct it once the symptoms have showed up?
Not a full deficiency. So there's a difference between just deficiency and insufficiency. In the U.S., we don't have too many deficiencies. You could argue vitamin D, I suppose, until you finally shows up. Iron deficiencies are fairly common, and then that'll show up. Your weakness, they find out you're anemic, and they give you iron supplement. Okay, and that takes about 4 months to recover from that. Because what's happening is we have trillions of cells, right? In your trillions of cells, every cell has about 1,000 enzymes. The enzymes are what make the cell work. Okay, well, guess what enzymes need? Guess what a coenzyme is that makes the enzyme work? A vitamin mineral. Okay, so that's the spark plug to the enzyme. So think of enzymes as machines in a factory. They're dormant without their vitamins and minerals, because the vitamin minerals are the tools that the machines need to work. We'll call them spark plugs. So they're just dormant. They're just laying there. So you got 1,000 enzymes, 500 have enough for vitamins and minerals to work. So you got 500 laying there. So picture all this, like 1,000 in each of your trillions of cells. Now, so what happens is now, the enzyme doesn't just disappear. It doesn't just disappear yet. It just lays there dormant. You start flooding now now you're putting all the spark plugs in there. So you're adding your iron. If you were low on iron, your selenium, you're low on selenium, you're low on C. I mean, those enzymes are now being fired up. Machines are working. So your factory is working. At the end of the day, the machines in your factory are working at about 60%. Now, all of a sudden, God, they have spark plugs to these machines that went dormant. Now, if they're dormant too long, they're gone. The body is frugal. It gets rid of what it's not using. So now you end up, but now you've taken that, and it takes about 4 months sometimes from a deficiency to recover, okay? But when they manifest on your skin, they manifest of weakness, they manifest of, different things when they're deficient. So insufficiencies don't manifest until you break, because there's no overt looking. In other words, you can't see your skin falling apart. Like if you were low on vitamin C, eventually you'd lose this, and certain, like a B1 and so forth. It shows up on your skin first, and then next thing you know, they find out you're low on something like this. But again, these things are very rare, because what we've done is we fortified our foods so we can cover the deficiencies. But the insufficiencies are rampant. Every human being on this planet is insufficient in something when it comes to total, full, of enzymatic workings, if you're not supplementing properly. Yeah.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah,
Am I?
No, you're
Since
not. You're not. Now, again, there's genetic exceptions. So listen, no one's going to argue that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the vast majority of the populations.
Totally.
Yeah.
You often outline the 3 cornerstones of longevity, which is nutrition, activity, and body composition. Is that order important?
Yeah, well, that's the most important part. Those are the 3 undisputed cornerstones of a long, healthy life. Meeting nutrition recommendations, which we have a good handle on what that is, right? We just didn't have that hundreds of years ago. 2, staying active. 3, maintaining a healthy body composition. But where does it all start? The order is what matters. You can't just go like this. You can't just be a fat fuck and then say, you know what? I'm going to start working out. Because exercise is not a weight loss solution. Everyone knows that. That's way too slow. Okay? And you don't start with a healthy body composition. You don't get a healthy body composition. Healthy means that you're doing something right on the nutrition. So it all starts where? It all starts, where were you born? Where were you? When did you start? You were a little seed. You were conceived, and now you're in the womb. Well, what's feeding you? Your nutrition. Bad nutrition, you're just going to grow up bad. This is not like a trick equation. Every part of our body is from something that was consumed in the environment and transformed from our DNA into what we are. And it just takes that constant flow of that nutrition in order to keep it the way it needs to be. So obviously, nutrition is the first thing of the 3 cornerstones. Forget about the stuff about no smoking. I get that, okay? We're only talking about, I'm just saying there's some other things too, right? Yeah. That you can throw in there if you want. And listen, if you're a smoker, again, your logic tree's broken, okay? So that obviously, you've already signed up for dying early.
Yeah.
That's you already signed up when you did that. So that's on you. But I'm talking about the 3 cornerstones are meeting nutrition recommendations. And by the way, nutrition recommendations aren't what the government laid out there for you. No one even meets those. But there's experts in each field that have the real nutrition, like vitamin D. No one believes 800 IUs of vitamin D should be the RDA. That's a fucking joke. Okay, vitamin C, 75 milligrams is the RDA. That's a fucking joke. We know that defense deficiency. You don't get scurvy. Oh, good for you. What about all the other shit, especially your immune system, especially when you're sick? So there's a lot of stuff there that gets the right ones. That's why filling your gaps. And if you want to live healthy long, playspan equal lifespan, first thing you have to do is meet your nutrient recommendation from the time you're in the womb. And you've heard us say this many times, everybody, the prenatal is a multivitamin mineral. Now it includes an omega-3 too. Okay, those are that is what you take when you're in the womb. Your mom is feeding you a multivitamin and mineral. Why would you ever stop? And that wiped out 35% of all major birth defects. So we're wiping out adult defects, and so that's what's taking it for the rest of your life, filling in your gaps. So who knows how? That's obviously the foundation, meeting your nutrient recommendations. Now, of course, I want you to eat as healthy as possible. Everybody knows what healthy is, but it's more important to the people that are unhealthy to take one than the one that are eating shitty take one. But listen, no one says it's making up for a bad diet, but yes, it actually does make up for a shitty diet in so many different ways. It doesn't solve it as well as a great diet, like a Mediterranean diet, that you ate that to a T versus not taking a multi or eating McDonald's all day. Crap, no fiber, no vegetables or anything else, and not taking them and taking a multi, obviously the Mediterranean diet is going to trump that. But again, we're talking about real life here, all the way around. So there's no one person that should not be filling their micronutrient gaps first and getting 1 gram per pound of lean body mass of protein your entire life.
If someone's just starting, let's say they're 40, is that where they should begin then?
Well, yes, that's where they should begin. Absolutely. At age 40, that's that time where I remember I retired from bodybuilding. I did do some guest posing and some exhibitions for that when I was still in my 40s. But at 41, I completely retired. And right then I realized, guess what? I'm not immortal. The problem with youngsters is they're not thinking about osteoporosis or dementia. In fact, they just make fun of old people. All right. So when you get now all the way, but by the time you're 40, all of a sudden, the end is a lot nearer and you're now thinking about it, And then you think you want to live long enough to see your kids successful and you want to see grandkids or whatever. I mean, all that happens. So a lot of people kind of wake up then and try to start then. And if they start then, the rules are still the same. You don't just go like, I'm going to go join the gym. No, let's talk about your nutrition. You don't just join the gym. That's why in our gyms, you don't need to get to all our personal trainers make sure you've got a nutrition program too. So it's like, it's one of those things where right off the bat, you can hit 2 out of 3 if you're 40. Get your nutrition. And by the way, you don't have to be psycho about your nutrition. We can talk about moderation later, but it's simple. It doesn't get any easier. Nutrition for someone 40. Let's say you're 40. You're going to come to me right now. I'm going to give you some simple frickin' rules right now. And I want to get in shape. Okay, you're going to start right here. 1 gram per pound of lean body mass of protein. You're going to take a complete multivitamin, a real one, not a drugstore one you get at CVS or something. And we're going to fill your gaps, okay? We're going to make sure you have all that. You're doing it. You're going to space your meals out, to at least 3 meals a day. We're going to start there. So it'll be very calorically efficient because to get that 1 gram per pound of protein, if you got to buy it in a grocery store, you probably have to have a part-time job and then have a full-time cook to make it for you. And it still wouldn't be as effective as adding a protein shake. So let's just get that done too. So that's how I kind of get everyone started. And then if you're not eating fish, which no one does here in the U.S. for some reason, then you're going to have fatty fish, and we're talking about too. Then you're taking omega-3 supplement. And you start there. Now, the other question I ask at that point is this. Now, we're talking about a 40-year-old, right? Or anybody, of course, but just specifically 40. First time they're coming, go like this. Okay, so are you eating, how much dairy or calcium fortified foods are you getting? And most of them, when they go like give you that blank stare, they go, well, then I go, okay, none. All right, so we're going to make sure that you're taking a calcium supplement, or you got the option of food, because on every label by law, you got to have calcium posted these days because it's a serious problem for the aging population. So, again, 500 milligrams, let's just say that'll supplement their diet. So if they're not getting enough from diet. Like I've never had to take calcium supplement because, as you know, I still have dairy and I whey protein that's got tons of calcium in it, so I don't need it. And I eat cheese every day because I love cheese. So bottom line is, those are the 3 things you have to do. Hit your protein number, your micronutrients, omega-3s, and then calcium if needed. Calcium's a mineral. It just won't fit in your multivitamin if you need it. It'll be this big. You have to swallow a shoe. So you have to take it separately. And then there's some people that don't need it because you have all that. And by the way, because your multi makes the calcium work, you get vitamin K2, K1 in your multi. And we make a calcium supplement that has that too in case you're not taking a multi. So you have all the cofactors that go with it, including vitamin D. All right, so that's that. And that's baseline. Now I am good to go. I got your nutrition solid, and it's calorically efficient because you're getting more protein, less calories. It's set up that way. And it's easy. And you know what? At the same time, I'm going to go like this. And I know you know what you should eat. Fruits, vegetables, a few whole grains, and all lean proteins. But you know what? That's perfect if you can do that. If you're not going to, as you know, Zane, you've seen me pound greasy burgers with French fries when I feel like it, spare ribs when I feel like it. I don't do it obviously every day or even every week. But what I'm saying, the problem with 40-year-olds that are already fat fucks, going backwards is very difficult, or they're very overweight. Okay, you can bleep it out, right? Okay. The problem, I won't say, okay, the problem with 40-year-olds that are already overweight, they're already fat, okay? Going backwards is very difficult, but getting the nutrition set up first makes them want to stay active and be active. They always go, okay, I'm going to get out, I want to go walk, I got to do this. So get the nutrition down and make it easy. Don't make it hard. Making it hard is like, but I don't care what diet you're going to follow because we'll fill your gaps. That's the most important thing right there. We can fill your gaps. However, there are some things you might want to stay away from, like a carnivore diet or something like that, but because you're missing too many things there. But we can always make sure we fill your gaps, whatever you're doing, and then you just kind of monitor that. Now you're in the gym or whatever because you came to us, or and that'll help you stay active, and then your body composition should fall in place because your body composition is a product of 1 and 2. It's a product of your intake and your output, which is your activity and your food. So that's what it's going to be, and then you just make your adjustments accordingly. I always tell people, it's really easy to make adjustments. I'm a big fan of weighing daily. Now, there's some people that can't do that because they get all, fucked up in the head. But the average person should be able to do it and weigh yourself daily because you got to pay the piper every day. It kind of keeps you on target. There's tons of studies that actually support that. But you don't need to. Once a week, once every 2 weeks is all fine with me. But guess what the best way is? Your freaking clothes, the mirror. If you're going to feel it, see it. And that's why I say, you can always tell when your belt's expanding or not. When's the first time you had a hint you were getting fat? You go to another pant size, another pant size, another pant size. You're going to know. And it's time to just cut back, but anyway, so that's basically what I tell everybody to get started at 40. That's baseline.
All right. Well, what are the most common mistakes you see in people over 40 with nutrition?
Yeah. The most common mistake is they think when they start, they got to just jump all in. Okay. Or they're looking for that magic bullet, the magic bullet being, peptides, hormone therapy, all these things that just wane with age. Okay. Well, you never need to do that if you had your metabolism at full bore, but your metabolism's shit because you've just been running on, 50, 60, 70% of your metabolism because of the micronutrients you've been taking in. So, obviously because you jump to something. And those things can give you what we like to call empty fire. They can give you a little bit of fire in the beginning, but your infrastructure is just broken. So it's like putting a blower motor on an engine that doesn't run. Okay, it's just not going to do any good because you got weak bones, you got weak cardiovascular system because your vitamin minerals, your brain's already, foggy. So it's a temporary fix. So they jump to that, looking for something quick, and the new science or whatever, and the marketing around that stuff is just, horrific. So you've got, that's one big mistake they make. The second big mistake they make is I gotta do everything. So I gotta eat clean, I gotta eat perfect, and then I gotta go to the gym, work out 5 days. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to eat perfect. You can lose weight and get in shape on your own terms. Here's the foods I want to eat. I like having steak. Okay, lean steak. Okay, I like having potatoes, yeah, okay, make sure with your skin on it, okay? But just keep the calories there. It's not what you eat, it's how much you eat, okay? Ideally, you want fruits, vegetables, so you get plenty of fiber, and you want lean proteins. Fish, chicken, turkey, lean beef, all that, soy if you're vegan, all that, that's what you want. The lean proteins, that's ideal. And then, a few whole grains here and there. So, but the problem is that everybody just wants to jump to that right away, and then they don't stick with it because it socially doesn't fit in their world, and they capitulate and they're out. So again, those are the very difficult. They jump to that too. It's very simple. And your activity, it doesn't have to be going to the gym 5 days a week. It could be anywhere between 7,000 and 10,000 steps a day could be your activity, with someone being very brisk. And then you can work out. And then I want you to get to the gym because strength training is number one when it comes to the type of exercise you should do for longevity. So a 40-year-old, no matter what I'm going to tell you, resistance, strength training is above aerobic, above everything. But what I meant by the 7,000 to 10,000 steps, that's activity that it helps burn calories and do all those things and keeps you from sitting down than just going to the gym thinking, I worked out, I can eat what I want. No, you can't. You're not burning that many calories in the gym compared to the amount of...
Well, you mentioned obsessing over diet and clean eating. What are your thoughts on people that really trip over kind of all the noise that's out there about, artificial sweeteners or seed oils, etc.?
Yeah, that's another one there. You got to turn the noise off. Everything's about moderation. So the key to success in eating healthy, staying healthy is moderation, no matter what you're eating. Too much of anything is bad for you, and too little of many things is terrible for you. A little bit of seed oil, even though it was cooked and got toxic, and all this shit they say on the internet, isn't going to hurt you at all. If that's all you ate, you're fat, and you eat like shit, then yeah, okay, that's just part of the big problem you got. Okay, and then the same thing with ultra processed. People that overanalyze, this big thing right now is ultra processed food. Okay, I get it. Fat people are eating ultra processed food. It does make you want to eat more because it tastes so good, way better than whole food. That's for sure. No one argues that. That's what they do. That's what food scientists do. They put things with sugar, fats. They mix all that stuff together. The humans are addicted to through evolution, and you come up with these great sauces, and they eat. Of course, you're going to eat a little bit more, but that's not the issue. when it comes to everything else. What we're saying is that you don't want to overthink it. So I can't have any ultra processed. I don't have this. I have to have whole foods. You don't. Nothing wrong with mixing in a little bit of anything. Nothing wrong with one day going and downing if you wanted to have a soda versus something. I mean, most people don't drink sodas these days. Too many people drink sodas these days, but I'm talking about when you're going kind of a healthy lifestyle. That's an easy thing to throw away. But, it's like, there's nothing wrong with having, some kind of processed food out of a, if you're stuck and you need some food and need some protein, to go into 7-Eleven and get a sandwich that might be processed or something, or some kind of take-home dinner that might be processed. Any of these types of things. Even at the end of the day, nutrition bars, they're all ultra-processed foods, at the end of the day. That doesn't mean they're bad for you. But too much, if that's all you're eating, then you're just going to end up overeating too. And there are some things in there. There's a lot of chemicals in there, but in moderation, don't overthink it. It's not that big a deal. Seed oils are not that big a deal. Artificial sweeteners, there's nothing wrong with having a Diet Coke. It's way better than having a regular Coke, because sugar causes obesity. It causes dental caries. Artificial sweeteners don't. So there's way more problems with, caloric sweeteners than there is for artificial. But another study just came out. Artificial sweeteners, they cause dementia. Really? Just in that person. It's the person who's already going to get dementia that's drinking them. I mean, it's just an association that's it's all bullshit. Moderation. Every nutrient, every ingredient, any food additives follows the bell curve. We're down here, you got a safety zone and everything else where it's doing what you put it in there to do, sweetening it, and everything's just okay. We call it the happy, safe zone. Now, when you start going this way, it gets up here. Oh, shit, you've had too much of it today, because you just had 85 Diet Cokes in an hour. Well, now the artificial sweetener's stressing the metabolism because it's just too much of one thing. So it's all comical. You can't live without zinc. You can't live without selenium. You can't live without vitamin B1. You can't live without vitamin C. But too much, you cross over, and it becomes toxic. Your dosing, your personal dosing of whatever you're taking makes it toxic. You're just taking too much of something. And the good things, all the healthy things that keep us alive, too much can be toxic. So again, that's everything in moderation. Don't fret artificial sweeteners once in a while at all. Okay. Oh, I hear they kill you. I just saw it on the internet. That's a conspiracy bullshit from the sugar industry. Okay. A little bit's not going to hurt anybody. The association is that fat people start drinking it, and next thing you know, they die. So that's not causal. Anyway, so that's that. I just want my little rant about moderation.
You can water poison yourself, right?
Absolutely. Yes. That's exactly right. Too much water, nitrogen. I forget there's a saying for that. Nitro or
I forget what it is.
Hypernatremia or something like that. I think it's something like that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that's essential.
Yeah. So just don't worry about that little shit. I try to make it easy for everybody. Make it real easy.
So I mean, you touched on resistance training. Is that the key to keeping your muscle, bone, and like brain health active after 40? Yeah,
well, for sure. I mean, there's no question that's sort of the when I call. People always talk about exercise being the fountain of youth. Well, obviously, nutrition is the true fountain of youth, because everything starts with nutrition. Life doesn't go on. Stop eating and see what happens to you.
Yeah, wither away.
You're dead. Yeah, you wither away and die. Okay, stop exercising. Hey, it's a very, very slow process, but exercises challenges the muscle and keeps it active and keeps it kind of rebuilding, so it staves off the inevitable. I mean, no one that lives to be 100 is going to look like Mr. Universe or Mrs. Universe, okay? At some point, performance and muscle size is going to go down, regardless of where you are when you started to go down. So resistance exercise just keeps it longer. It's like, putting more muscle in the bank. So your bank account of muscle just lasts longer, throughout life. So into your retirement, you still got some muscle and you're still working it. You're keeping it. And not only that, here's the key to exercise. Everybody should know this. Strength training, when you're challenging the muscles, that's also challenges the bone, challenges everything else. When you eat your protein, it tells your nutrition where to go. It goes into your tissues. It's deposited into your lean tissues to keep it the same size or bigger or whatever the exercise cost. So again, exercise tells your nutrition where to go. When you don't exercise, guess where your nutrition goes? It just says, oh, I don't have any place to put it. It's just sticking in your body fat if your calories are above your maintenance. So yeah, that's why resistance training is so important for longevity. Now again, the argument when you talk about blue zones, these people they don't work out, they don't lift weights. That's why I say nutrition is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's just the food that they eat is so freaking. And by the way, I would never eat a diet like that because I would just be bored to death and I'd freaking be on suicide watch. Because that's just not what I want to eat and the way I feel and everything else. So I can offset the imperfect diet that I might have by making sure that I'm still getting all my micronutrients so my silent hunger is shut down.
So as we just talked about, resistance training and strength training, what is the importance of proper nutrition with that?
Yeah, see, that's a big one because the older you get, everybody should write this down, all you over 40, write this down, the older you get, the more resistant your body becomes to exercise. It doesn't respond the same because don't forget, we're not supposed to be here. The average human only lived to age 20, a million when we first started out and broke off the trees there. So bottom line is we're resistant to exercise. We don't build muscle like we used to because the hormones are everything's gone back. Everyone's going the other way after puberty, basically. Okay. And then we also become resistant to protein, the deposit in lean body mass. We have to overcome that. So we overcome it in exercise, like for 40 years old, you start moving into more volume exercise, more reps rather than less reps, okay? And then you also need more protein. So for instance, Zane, you're 30, let's just say, which you are, about 30. 31, right? I'm 73. Per pound, I probably need twice as much protein as you to overcome the anabolic resistance of a human that's not supposed to be here. Okay, so the protein becomes even more important for this 40-year-old that's exercising now. Now you got into resistance training, and you better make sure you're getting 1 gram per pound of lean body mass of protein. You better make sure, or you're not going to recover nearly as well, and now you're not pushing out the inevitable. You're kind of making the inevitable just be, wherever it was before. So one thing to exercise, another thing not to recover. Now, if you don't recover, you have to recover. That requires more protein. And I always say, take a protein shot before you come into the gym and take one right after. Kind of fill in that window. It doesn't matter what science says. Well, you don't need to do that. You just got to get enough protein. Bullshit. You got to spread it out anyway. So what's the worst thing that happens? You spread your protein out properly. And the good thing that happens is you kind of filled this window. There's more muscle enzyme activity going on after you've damaged the tissue. So it's going to absorb those amino acids and just love what it's getting. So there's lots of stuff right there. So yeah, everything's about recovery at age 40.
Yeah.
When it gets there.
A lot of people want to go above and beyond kind of what you said, or maybe they're already doing that or have been doing that, right? Which is getting the right amount of protein, the multivitamin, the omega-3s and whatnot, calcium if they needed it. So, there's a lot of people probably looking for a protocol that goes beyond that and maybe some age-specific supplementation that they can be getting into. What is like what would you do to really go above and beyond, like, and maximize your supplement protocol in over 40?
Well, when you say above and beyond, there's two phases to it. One, I gave you guys, no matter what, the essential micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, your protein, right? And then your omega-3s. We did all that. And, so we have that. There's a lot of stuff before you would go to the final phase. When we're talking about hormone therapy or peptides, right? That's the final. But before that, you've got lots of different things that I do when I build a protocol for someone. So I just gave you the baseline, your multi, and making sure you have enough calcium on top of that, your omega-3 and your protein 1 gram per pound. That's baseline. Now from there, then I start going to creatine. Okay, so you're a 40-year-old.
Well, you're going to take us in order of priority?
In priority, yeah. Yeah. Right there, I'm going to probably, a 40-year-old, I'm going to go right to creatine right then after baseline's out. Because can you imagine taking creatine when you don't have enough protein? Wait, I'm trying to stave off muscle loss. I'm trying to perform better, and I don't take 1 gram per pound of lean body. I take like half of that because that's like normal person. And I'm going to take creatine. But people want to jump to creatine without doing that. It's not going to work. How about all your micronutrients, your trillions of cells, all the spark plugs, the machines are all working and fired up, and you're taking creatine, and you're not getting the full bang for the buck. So, okay, so I got baseline covered, add creatine. That'll be the first thing I would do. That's male and female, by the way, not just male and female, because of cognition, all the great things that we're looking at creatine. Creatine is sort of I hate to use the word, anti-aging. It really helps preserve our youthful muscles and all of these things. It's basically a multivitamin for your muscles, if you will. Okay, so that's like the first thing I would do. Now, I can also go further. When they get into 45 and 50, I'm adding things like amino acids that are free-form. So essential amino acids that are free-form. We did this on a call one time before. That can help overcome protein. Remember I said we're all resistant to protein and exercise? That can help overcome it by just flooding the muscle with the amino acids that turn on the muscle building machinery. We have a little tiny button in all our muscle cells called mammalian target of rapamycin. And that's the one that senses what's going on. It senses these free-form amino acids that are pouring into the muscle from a supplement. And it goes, whoa, just turn on the muscle building machinery. And that's while you're tearing it down while you're working out. Where you make people drink it during a workout, or you can drink it after or between meals. It just keeps the muscle building machinery on. And it works, even if you don't work out, it can help preserve your muscle. Okay, like we give it to people that are going through surgery so they recover faster after, all this kind of stuff. It helps overcome the anabolic resistance. So there's another thing, a second thing that I would do, okay? And then brain nutrition. At age 45, our brain is not receiving the nutrition again, and that's just an age-related thing because alpha-lipoic acid, phosphatidylserine, acetyl L-carnitine, B2 of your vitamin Bs and so forth. Those are the nutrients that keep our neurons active and firing and just do all the communicating properly. Well, by the time we're in our 40s, our stomach acid doesn't break foods. We can't even make that stuff very well. Any of those kind of things, as you can make it from other stuff, but we do a very terrible job because, again, we're not supposed to be here. Everything wanes. So by giving it and filling it back up to those, now we're feeding the brain. We're not treating anything. We're not going to make you any smarter. I hate fucking memory supplements. It drives me out of my mind because it's bullshit. With this Prevagen, it'll have, my memory's better. Bullshit. Okay? Not true. What we do is stop it from happening in the first place by keeping the same brain nutrition you had when you were young at those youthful levels and feed it. I just gave you the perfect protocol that I do for a CEO right there. I just nailed it. Mm-hmm. Baseline, creatine, your aminos, somewhere in between there to bring up the protein account as well, and stave off the anabolic resistance and a brain health product. Okay, so again, when I say that, those are those little ingredients there. Now, there's another one in there that supplies our phytochemicals. Mm-hmm. So we actually make sure everybody's they're getting their lutein, there's zeaxanthin, lycopene, astaxanthin, CoQ10, and alpha-lipoic acid. We put that all in one little thing to give them to. And those are your phytochemicals. CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid they're part of the energy cycle. And they give you that energy. And CoQ10 is a real popular supplement for almost anybody on a statin should be taking a CoQ10 supplement separately or just like we do it. Yeah. So that's why they're all taking that too. That's the perfect frickin', your metabolism is now, whatever metabolism you got, it's running at 100%. 100. I mean, that's me. You're looking at me. Everything I just told you, obviously, I do. And trust me, the trillions of cells that I have, they're not that big anymore, but the trillions of cells I have, they're cranked all the time. I have more energy than a 20-year-old, as you know, and I work 18 hours a day, every day, and just love everything, just it's all good. And again, I'm just one of millions in my orbit that we take care of like that. It's a whole different world when your cells are naturally just filled up with all the stuff that's already in our body. We just have it at the right level. So that is the final phase of everything before you go to the next one.
Well, you said all of that, and you're not on any pharmaceutical intervention.
No peptides. No, I've never taken medications for other than a painkiller after athletic surgery, and then that's over. But yeah, that's it. None. Not to mention the other thing is there's nothing else. All the other things that people are doing today.
Former pharmacology.
Yes, as a bodybuilder, yes. You just look at my pictures and you'll know that I couldn't be natural.
I guess that leads us right into the next one here, which is a hot one these days. So there's a lot of talk around, hormone replacement therapy, peptides, GLP-1s. Where do these fit?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you where they fit. Without a doubt, if you are, let's start with hormone therapy first, okay? And I'm talking about men. I'm not even going anywhere near menopause women and estrogen therapy because no one knows the answer to that. It is one of the most difficult topics I see in science today, and everybody's looking for that answer because that's, men go through a men menopause, which is nothing compared to what the average woman goes through when they go through menopause. It is really a difficult thing. So everybody make sure I'm talking about men only now. This is 100% men and men over 40 or whatever, because you shouldn't even entertain this stuff otherwise. Okay, so now you're talking about peptides. I can't tell you how many people in my orbit, you go, Neal, I'm going to take this. Is that okay? And I go, well, let me make sure that this, and first. Okay, so let's start with hormone therapy. Hormone therapy is designed for people that are, have hypogonadism. In other words, they have very low testosterone naturally. They were born that way, and they just have that condition. And that's below 300, I think it's nanograms per deciliter, whatever, okay? Below 300. Now, I'm talking about men over 40 now, okay? So you're supposed to be above 300 if you're a male between 40 and 60, or 300 or a little bit more, 300 to 400 or 450. Okay, so we get below that, then you are a candidate for testosterone therapy, okay? You are a candidate. But you're not if you don't have symptoms that go with it. Lethargy, loss of libido, those are the things, you're tired all the time, so everything, your strength is in, you're atrophying very quickly. These are signs, those are symptoms. So for instance, I love this, and I really want to listen to this. I get a physical every year because they have this Keyman insurance shit on me, so they got to make sure I stay alive. And my one time, they, because testosterone is always checked, and one time it was 285 or something like that. Literally, my doctor, because I have a different doctor, they come out to my house and do all the physical. But then they call me after they get the blood work back. And they go like that, and he goes, hey, listen, you're a candidate for hormone therapy. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, well, your testosterone, you can see it was like 260 this time. And I go, well, wouldn't I have to have a symptom along with that? Nothing wrong with that if I don't have a symptom. He goes, well, what are you, lethargy, your libido, atrophy, or anything else? I go, no, I got more energy than anybody on the planet, right? My libido is the same as it's always been. And he goes, oh, okay, then you don't need it. I mean, that's where pharma is. Now, ready for this? Next year, I get my blood test. It all depends on the time of the day. You don't just take testosterone changes throughout the day. So they take this time they come out, take it, and I get the call back 2 days later after the lab work comes back. He goes, and he looks at my testosterone, it's 460. That's a year later. So again, I just want to put it in perspective for everybody. I mean, just because you have it, you got to have the symptoms too. Now, then you're a candidate for therapy. Now, the problem with therapy now in recent years, not as recent as now, but I'll fill that in, is that they were noticing that people on testosterone therapy, men on testosterone, had early cardiovascular events. And they were kind of blaming it on testosterone therapy. Turns out it's not. The latest 2024 review of all studies, all of it, the meta-analysis around that is men that are qualified for testosterone therapy, which means under 300 nanograms per deciliter, okay? That's what their measurement was in 2 measurements. They go on it. There's no danger in extra cardiovascular events. There's always obviously a one-off somewhere. And there might even be some benefits in longevity overall. That person deserves to be on hormone therapy, but not before they did everything we just talked about. Yeah. 2 reasons. One, if you go on hormone therapy and you don't have a strong foundation, which is everything, all your trillion cells with all their spark plugs and all their enzymes firing and everything else, something's going to break down. That testosterone therapy could be an issue. You're putting empty fire on top of a foundation. You're putting something on a motor that's already broken. Get that stuff done first. Then get your thing, and then see if you're still deficient because you have a symptom or you have something else that's going on there. That's ideal. I know too many people just jump to it. They don't care if their testosterone's 500. They want to get to 1,000. Right. They want to have more sexual activity. They want to do whatever it is. So is it vanity? Is it necessary? Those are kind of the places you kind of get to with all that. Now, if you're not deficient in testosterone and you take it, which I would say 90% of the people on the planet that are doing it, there could be a downside. It's not going to cause a problem, but it could exacerbate an unknown cancer or something. You don't even know it's there yet. It could exacerbate and speed it up, just like anything can too. But I'm just saying that is the one things that you have to worry about if you're not a candidate for it. If you're a candidate for it, then it's not going to hurt you because you're going to get up to like level everybody else's. So again, I think that's what it comes down. So there's your hormone therapy answer. That's my take on it. Obviously, I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I don't do it. Not even, I could. I'm access to anything. I have to tell you, many of the friends in my orbit that I'm very close to, and they have their full. The reason I go ahead and say, okay, go ahead, but I'm just giving you the downside is if you're not a candidate for it, something could be happening that you don't know about. Okay, but stay with me. But the reason I go, okay, because you've done everything else right too. Because when they add it, it'll actually hold up.
Yeah.
So you want to have your foundation strong, then you add it, and then there could be something there. Who knows? We all die eventually, so where's the payback? You can't just keep it forever. Your hormone levels up.
That was with the hormone replacement therapy. So you didn't really talk about
peptides.
The new GLP. Oh, peptides.
Yeah. Well, GLP is a peptide too. But that's a drug. That's an approved drug peptide. But let's talk about the gray area peptides.
Yeah.
So you got like BPC 157. You got CJ. Listen, I don't need all these numbers. 1265, whatever. There are all kinds out there. What they are, most of the guys are taking at age 40 and above. They're taking what we call GH, growth hormone secretagogues. They cause your body to secrete more growth hormone. So when you take them, and growth hormone is responsible for your muscles, your bones, even fat loss to a certain extent, right? It's kind of that master hormone. Think of growth hormone as a contractor, but insulin growth factor, IGF-1, those are the workers out there. So when you have growth hormone and you increase it, it's giving more direction to insulin growth factor. It tells you to build more muscle, build more bone, keep the bone strong, all that. It's that's all part of being that master hormone. Well, so what people do is they'll take these. We make about 7,000 different peptide hormones in the body, just naturally, but they don't last very long when they're activated. These peptides go to different receptors, and they're responsible for our performance and health and growth and all these things, right? 7,000 different ones. Mm-hmm. So but they wane with age, like everything else wanes with age, okay? Because it's supposed to, because we're not supposed to be here forever. So something's got to start waning. Because they wane like everything else. So to cheat the system, what you do is you take that peptide that your body naturally makes, and you kind of change the molecule a little bit. But it's the same thing, and it's still hitting the receptor. But it lasts longer than the receptor. And then it lasts longer than the natural one. The natural peptide in your body might break down in 5-10 minutes, like GLP breaks down in 5 minutes when your body releases it to tell you you're full. 10 minutes later, it's gone. 5 minutes later, it's gone. The drug peptide lasts 183 hours because all you do is change the molecule and you don't have an enzyme to break it down, so it stays in there. That's why people just don't want to eat. So it's the same thing here with the secretagogues, the growth hormone secretagogues. And what they're doing, changing the molecule, they don't have an enzyme to really break it down, so it stays in there longer, hitting that receptor, telling you to promote more growth hormone, which gives you more IGF-1, and that increases, growth of muscle. It speeds up body fat loss, and it also, like the BPC, and by the way, we actually will recommend it once in a while when everybody else is done with everything. You got your baseline, you got all your other things, you got your creatine, you got all this. We'll recommend it for a healing process for an athlete or someone, even like myself. I mean, I haven't ever done it, but I mean, the injuries I have just from falling off my horse and healing up and stuff, it could speed things up, and it probably does. But it's still a gray area supplement. In other words, it's not a drug approved. It's been tested on animals. But anecdotally, we find out, and empirical evidence shows us that it looks like it does work for certain conditions of healing it. What it does, it opens up growth hormone receptors in the damaged tissues. It allows more stuff to come to those damaged tissues and more blood flow and nutrients to get there. So things like that can work, but they're still under the condition of what? You better make sure your foundation's all tight first, and then it's going to work that much better. Mm-hmm. So one, you got to make sure your foundation's completely solid, and then if you do still take it because you need it for something, one of these peptides, for whatever reason, then it's going to work that much better, if it's going to work at all. So that's really what it comes. And not only that, here's the other thing. when you look at these anti-aging supplements, you got NMD, NAD, nicotine identifying mono, all these different ones that are out there. You've got ergothia, you've got all of these different ones. I can't even pronounce them all, but I mean, I can if I was looking at them, but there's so many out there. You got methylene blue, all these things you see on TV. They're all over because everybody's trying to live longer, for their skin and all this different stuff and for the brain and all that. Guess what? When you do all the stuff we just talked about, like I just created for one of the celebrities with all those the supplements, it washes out any effect that stuff would have. It's a waste of money. Those things are always money. The only time they work is when you're undernourished. Undernourished because you don't have anything else in you. So of course they're going to work. Like spirulina, you look at that, people take that, oh God, I feel great. That's because you don't have the other shit going on.
So how do you feel about all the anti-aging supplements that have popped up over the past years, like nicotinamide, mononucleotide, etc., spirulina, methylene blue?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them out. There's some other ones out and HMB, which is a lot of these things are legitimate, but they're only legitimate in the context of the physiology of the person taking it. If you're undernourished, if you're not getting enough branched chain amino acids, like we were talking about earlier, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, then HMB might help you by itself. But if you've got all that stuff there because you did your baseline supplementation right and you took your other phytochemicals in the protocols I just mentioned, it would wash out any benefit of those things. Okay, so and you've got like your ergothioneine. It's one of these things nowadays that people are sending me. What about this? What should I take? Well, first of all, if you're fully nourished because you've done your baseline and the extra protocol I said about all your phytochemicals, lutein, zeaxanthin, lycopene, all this, it's not going to help you. Those, because you've done it, it's going to wash out any benefit. But if you are undernourished and you're not getting all your vitamins and minerals or anything, then stuff like that might help. Spirulina might help. Might make a difference, but you haven't done your baseline stuff. Once your baseline and the extra stuff we just talked about are done, that stuff's all going to be washed out. And by the way, if it is going to work for you, if you have all the stuff we talked about earlier done, it's only going to work better. That means that it is a true limiting factor, but that would be a one-off. Very rarely any of that stuff would ever work in any of my people in my orbit because they're taking all the stuff that would wash out any benefit from that because they're not undernourished. But that stuff does work for people that are undernourished. HMB for an old person that's not getting enough protein, that can help them. Okay? But if they're taking I would take the amino acid formula we were talking about earlier way over HMB, and then HMB we washed out completely. And you're going to get more benefit from the complete amino acid formula than you would from any HMB without doing all the other stuff. So, that's what it comes down to. So you're going to wash out the benefits of that when you've said all that. So most of that stuff are useless for someone that's got a fully running metabolism from all the things we just talked about. Yeah. There you go.
And then finally, we had the GLP-1s. How do you feel about those?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know this is going to sound funny to everybody because everybody knows that, I do have issues with Big Pharma since they run the country and they want everybody taking drugs. I'm actually a fan of the product because it absolutely is necessary for many people. There are people that have that need to lose weight now and they just can't do it. And again, it bothers me when people talk about, well, it's their fault. Listen, there are people that their biology is just pushed out of place. They can't control themselves, whether it be from an emotional standpoint or whether it be from other things. They've tried and failed a few times. And this can be a lifesaver for them. So that's where it's warranted, without a doubt. It works. Unfortunately, if you don't supplement properly, then it could be very harmful in the fact that 40% of your weight loss is muscle because it actually works that well to lose weight is taking muscle and fat. So the number on the scale goes down. And then when you gain the weight back when you go off, because you will gain the weight back when you go off. That's the downside. But the argument in medicine is this. Well, if you're a diabetic, you have to take insulin your whole life. You can't ever go off it. So they're saying if you're fat and you start taking this and you get lean, you can't ever go off it. And that's a true statement, right? But who wants to spend that much money, number one, because it's generally not covered by insurance. And number two, who wants to, take drugs the rest of their life? I guess so. But I'm saying that's the downside. The downside is you lose muscle. If immediately you start the drug and you take protein, more protein and everything, like a shake full of fiber and some other stuff you can throw in there to make it good, then you can offset the loss of lean body mass and help you stay active and maybe exit the drug. But unfortunately, a lot of these people that are getting on it aren't doing that. So you're with up to 40% of the weight loss being muscle, you're screwed. Because when you gain it back, what are you gaining back? Just the fat. Well, you might gain a little muscle, but certainly not. So now you got all kinds of problems: bone weakness, muscle weakness, and you're fatter than you ever were. So there's the downside. The upside is we know that it can definitely save lives. People just can't lose the weight. But again, unfortunately, I would have to argue 50% of the users don't need it. They're doing it because it is a shortcut. Yeah. It's a way of just making it easy. And this Serena Williams thing is not helping them, not helping the rest of it there. Diabetics used it starting in 2005. That's what it was made for. Then you just realize it just cuts the appetite. And it cuts it so it's voluntary weight loss. You're not even trying. It's just happening. Yeah. Involuntary, if you want, whichever way you want to characterize it. But I'm just saying, it's like you're not eating. You have to force yourself to stick on a diet when I give you a diet when your calories are low to get to where you want to get, right? But this, you don't have to. You just don't feel like eating. So it's a problem. So I'm a fan of what it can do to save lives. But unfortunately, it's being abused. And I think we talked about it on another episode. Eli Lilly's now being sued because they're incentivizing every doctor to give it to everybody. Yeah. So they're being sued for just like the opioids. Yeah. So I don't want it to get to anywhere near there, but it's necessary for a lot of people. That's my opinion. And by the way, it's a peptide, but it's different than what we were just talking about. The other peptides we were talking about are non-approved drugs, and they're illegal in sports. Those are all the other things there. GLPs are an approved, FDA-approved drug, but it's a peptide. The upside of peptides, by the way, I want to talk about the safety issue with it. The upside of even peptide drugs and the peptides we were talking about, there's probably not so much of a safety issue with any of those things. And the reason is because they mimic peptides that are naturally in the body. So when they finally do break down, guess what? The amino acids just recycle, so it doesn't stress the metabolism. So you're probably not going to hurt yourself if you want to experiment with the peptides we were just talking about, BPC 157 to heal or something, and then something else to release growth hormone. You're probably not going to hurt. But again, if your metabolism isn't at full force when you do them, you might break something somewhere along the line if it's really working for you, because you're putting a powerful engine on a very weak chassis, and it's going to blow it apart at some point. It doesn't make any sense. So you want to make sure you get that done. And then if your metabolism is strong and you take it, it's only going to work that much better. But you can't, what are you going to stay young for the rest of your life?
In my 31 years, typically when you see something that's too good to be true,
yeah.
It usually is.
It usually is, for sure.
Unfortunately.
For sure,
yeah.
Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah. Take all the cigarette smokers, right? Yeah. They thought vaping was like the holy grail, about to come in, like give them a outlet to smoke still somehow, and
a free pass.
Yeah, ends up that's not the case. So.
No, that's for sure.
We'll see. So, safe to say if you're going to go down that path of peptides, hormone replacement therapy, GLPs, just make sure the baseline's in check. And then if you're still lacking something with everything being done, all the groundwork, that's now your time to go.
If you want to, that's the time to experiment there and see what it is. Make sure there's nothing underlying wrong with you, like have a physical. Right. Make sure you don't have some, underlying health issue. Yeah. That's bringing you down, some kind of, again, you might have some kind of disease or something you don't know about, or, but so yes, then you can explore it, explore. And by the way, you should do it with blood work and a doc. Right. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just do go to the website and go buy some, peptide secretagogues, or go to Mexico and get your GLP-1s, or order from China because you're saving money. You try to do it legitimately. I just know that, a lot of people don't, but again, from financial reasons, but try to do it that way. That's always going to be my recommendation. Do it with some blood work. Even back when I was a bodybuilder, I was, the level I was at, with the steroids we always did it with blood work. Yeah. So we can always keep an eye on everything.
All right. So, to wrap this thing up, what's one thing you wish everyone over 40 would understand about staying young and active?
Everything starts with nutrition. Your life started with nutrition. Your life is maintained with nutrition. When it starts with bad nutrition, not good things happen. And when you maintain it with bad nutrition, not refilling it with all the stuff that made it in the first place at the right levels, it's just not the same life. You are, one thing I want to remember, every human being, the trillions of cells we have, We are a product of our cells' performance. Your performance, Zane, my performance, everyone in the world's performance is a product of their cells' performance. Your trillions of cells, they're performing. That's how you stay alive. It's all just happening right now. What's feeding the cells are your micronutrients. They're the ones that feed them. They're the ones that make them all keep going and going, the machine working the way it's supposed to work. So if everybody can remember that, it starts there, and then all the good things will happen. Bad nutrition it's really the root cause to everything else that manifests later on in life. All that stuff, obviously, because it's the root that's what built us in the first place. So I think that's what I want them to do. The 3 cornerstones are the things you need to remember. Meet your nutrition recommendations, stay active, and then your healthy body composition. But it all starts with number 1, nutrition. That's the basis for everything good or bad that happens in the body. That's what I want them to remember. And that's an easy thing. And it's not hard. It's easy. Don't look for any... Shut down all your nutrition influencers that you're listening to, because there's something behind that. They're trying to get an audience, okay? So it's going to be controversial. What I just told you to do, it's that simple. It is so easy to stay healthy. It's not so easy to reverse it once you've gained body fat, because your body just wants to gain it back again, okay? I get that, okay? But it still all starts with nutrition. Whether you're losing it, gaining it, all that. So it is so easy. Don't make it hard. I can't have seed oils. I can't have an sweetener. I can't have... Don't make it hard. Intuitive. Your best advice is evidence-based science, and that's all I give to you guys in the first place. But I go outside that. You can cheat here, you can cheat there, and all good. You can make it up. You can make it up by making sure you've met your nutritional needs. One way or another, diet and supplements always. And that's what I want you to walk away with, and you're going to be good to go. I'm not sure you're going to be as energetic as I am at 73, but yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to match, especially with no hormone replacement.
That's right,
therapy.
Exactly.
With that being said, that's your over 40 episode, and really for everybody, I guess, under 40 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and don't forget, take your multivitamin. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep.
Bye.